I agree with those commentators who are saying that the book of Hebrews was primarily addressing the Jewish believers, for a reason that the audience that was receiving the book of Hebrews must have been very well versed in the Old Testament. If you are not, you lose yourself in all of the pictures that follow from chapter 1 to the other. And the other reason is that it must have been happening during the persecution, when after the initial enthusiasm with Jesus being persecuted, some Jewish believers kind of felt, but there was not basically anything wrong with my Jewish belief. It was good enough up to recently for me, then it must be good now with the help of Jesus or not. And now the author is coming to them and say, no, for one simple reason, that all the precious elements of your belief that you find in the Old Testament beliefs or in the Old Testament covenant and the symbolism in the religion of the Old Testament and the messages of the prophets, and all of them are being consumed in the person of Jesus. In the person of Jesus, you have the real deal. So patiently God walks with his people, gives them in fragments his truth, patiently leading them to the fulfillment and completion in Jesus. And once you have Jesus, you have the real deal. You don't need any more the pictures and the GPSs and I don't know, maps leading to Jesus because you have him in person here. So whatever you need to know, it's in him much better done and explained than in all of the precious intentions of the Old Testament prophets. This is why most of the book of Hebrews talks about the supremacy of Jesus, and when you read it carefully, it takes every single bit of the Old Testament Jewish religion and it says, but Jesus is better than that. Jesus is more superior to that. Jesus is actually the real thing. And I have something here that I wrote many years ago. The author of the book of Hebrews illustrates the supremacy of Jesus over religion with precision. In it, Jesus is superior to angels. Moreover, he stands for a better Moses, a better Sabbath, a better priesthood, a better law, a better high priest, a better sacrifice, a better ministry, a better hope, a better promise, a better covenant, a better order, a better tabernacle, a better access to the Father, a better mediator. No element of the Old Covenant religion is left untouched. Finally, only Jesus remains, seated at the right hand of the Father as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and the only and ultimate authority, object and focus of our worship and adoration. God did not tell everything to his people before the time of Jesus. It was fragmented. In the past, he spoke to answers to prophets, and many times in different ways. It was a little bit here, a little bit there, depending on the need, depending more on how much they could comprehend at a given time. And to us, this might be like a little bit challenging to understand why. Why was he keeping things to himself? He wasn't. The point is this, that before Jesus was revealed, he could not do more. Not because of his limitations, but because of our limitations. And there was no historical experience that would help in any way to understand when Jesus came, what was he up to? Even now, 2,000 years after Jesus, and we are struggling to make sense. What to say about the times before Jesus, when whatever God revealed to his people, still the real deal never happened, so they couldn't. What is outside of the experience cannot be understood. We cannot comprehend things which are foreign to our experience. And experience of Jesus did not exist yet. Only the message, only the illustrations, only the pictures, only the rituals, only the all bits and pieces in the Old Testament that were helping to lead to that point, to the time, but they couldn't still understand it. Was it Plato who said, man who is in a cave, and there is this flickering light, and he sees the shadows of something from outside of the cave. will substitute the shadow for the reality, will think that this shadow is the real deal, a real thing. Because he has or she has never experienced this reality outside in any other way than through these shadows being projected somewhere on the wall of the cave thanks to the little bit of fire there. So the real deal is Jesus. Before it happened, only what they saw was a flickering partial shadows, very much needed, but not the complete thing. But now, at the end of the days, that's another wonderful thought, that basically the author is saying that the last days have started with Jesus. They are not determined by the length of the time, but actually by the completion of his mission in Jesus Christ. Now, everything being given for man, when everything was completed in Jesus, nothing else of significance, or let's put it like this, of saving significance was to be given to us. He is the final word, so the end of the ages has come, regardless of how long they last from that point and up to this final moment of Jesus is appearing and completing this whole story.